Jack Elridge thought he had found order in chaos, 12 voices inside his mind, balanced by a system of mirrors and recordings. But when strange symbols begin corrupting his files and a 13th voice whispers its name, Obsidian, Jack realizes his greatest enemy isn't outside. It's a shadow he spent his whole life trying to forget. Jack Elridge's apartment was a sanctuary of order. The blinds were always drawn at a precise 40-degree angle, casting sharp, geometric shadows across shelves lined with labeled journals and archived hard drives. A perpetual scent of eucalyptus oil lingered in the air, neutral and clean. At a glance, his life looked sterile, almost enviable in its organization. But Jack was not alone inside his own mind. 12 personalities lived within him, not like whispers or hauntings, but as council members in a fractured parliament. Each one bore the scars of his past. Anna, warm and soft-spoken, held the maternal instincts his own mother lacked. Devin, the neurotic logic-bound analyst, had cataloged trauma into spreadsheets. Then there was Quinn, the chaotic poet who saw patterns in madness, and Ellis, who never spoke above a whisper, but always knew when something was wrong. Jack had not fought them for years. He'd embraced them. The mirror system was his method. Every morning, Jack recorded video messages directed at each identity. He would ask questions, update them on current events, or set challenges. Each evening, they responded through his body, sitting in front of the same camera, speaking in their own cadence and tones. The files were tagged, color-coded, and time-stamped. It wasn't perfect, but it was stability. No more blackouts, no more waking up in alleyways or strange apartments. Until the city began to change. Reports came in slowly at first. A psychiatric's private server erased. Her entire career turned into digital ash. Then, a memory leak. Private, shameful moments of a prominent candidate blasted into public consciousness. People whispered of psychic terrorism. The local server farm connected to major medical databases was destroyed with chilling precision. The press called it the thought war. Jack called it too close. He tried to ignore the unease. Until Tuesday, the file was marked like the others. Morning reflection, 8:12 a.m. But when Jack clicked it, the screen sputtered, static hissing like a snake. The timestamp skipped ahead. 4 hours vanished. Then footage resumed, brief, distorted, and wrong. Jack saw himself walking down an alley near the facility that had burned. His eyes were vacant, mouth slightly open, no expression, no emotion, just execution. He jolted upright. "Who did this?" he asked aloud, already opening the input folders, reviewing the replies from his alters. One by one they denied involvement. Anna looked hurt, Devin raged, Quinn laughed nervously, Ellis wept. None of them knew. All of them were afraid. Then came the interruptions. Video logs that once ran smooth now jittered. The soft hiss in the background became a whisper. Shapes, symbols appeared in split frames, triangles inside of circles, a line through a black iris, and then a sound, almost imperceptible but unmistakable to Jack, a name from a different life. Obsidian. Jack froze. That name hadn't been uttered since the institution, since he carved it into a wall during a blackout 15 years ago. It wasn't one of them. It never had been. But maybe it was watching. Maybe it was waking. Jack had always trusted the ritual. Morning coffee, sit in the chair, adjust the webcam, begin the recording with a calm breath and a greeting. "Good morning, everyone." But now, even this ritual had become corrupted. The first glitch seemed minor, and his video cut off halfway through, a gentle reflection about boundaries. Jack assumed it was a system error, but then Devin's reply flickered into static mid-sentence, replaced by a jarring sound, half whisper, half growl. "You are only skin. I am the marrow." Jack paused the footage, rewound it, played it again. The phrase remained. It wasn't any of them. Not Anna's warmth, Devin's precision, Quinn's abstraction, or even Ellis' soft murmur. It was deeper, hungrier, and the symbols, God, the symbols, began crawling into every file like digital parasites. Uneven spirals, inverted eyes, stick figures with cracked circles for heads, etched as if gorged by invisible nails. The mirror system was breaking. The personalities began fracturing under pressure. Devin, always the anchor of logic, dissolved in front of the camera. muttering calculations and panic-laced equations about memory errors and identity collapse. Anna refused to appear at all. She hadn't surfaced in 3 days, and the last of her file was just a still image of her crying, motionless, as if caught in mid-thought. Ellis screamed, something he never did. Jack didn't recognize the voices at first, not until the others began turning on each other. "You're hiding something," Quinn accused in one video, his smile gone. "You've always known." "It's not one of us," spat Devin. "It's a mimic, a parasite." "I think," whispered Ellis, "I think we've always been circling around something else, something deeper." The mistrust spread like a virus, and Jack, who had once mediated these conversations like a calm conductor, now sat helplessly, watching his internal family collapse. In desperation, he turned to data. He scanned the video logs for consistencies, and one anomaly stood out, a recurring timestamp, 3:03:13 a.m. Embedded in the metadata of every corrupted file, it pointed to an old backup directory, hidden, encrypted, long forgotten. When he cracked the password, what he found chilled him. A video dated 19 years ago. It was grainy as if filmed on a primitive camera. The screen was dark, illuminated only by a dim yellow lamp. In the center sat a child, maybe 10, maybe younger, sobbing quietly. The voice was unmistakable. It was his, but he didn't remember this moment, not even a flicker. Between the tears, the child whispered a single word, over and over. "Obsidian. Obsidian." Jack leaned back in his chair, nausea rising. The altars, every one of them, claimed they had no memory of this recording. It felt older, prehistoric, as if it predated the mirror system entirely. Then came the final eruption. At 2:14 a.m., Jack awoke in darkness. The hum of his computer drew him in. A new file glowed on his desktop. He hadn't recorded anything, but it was there. The camera angle was off-center, low, unfamiliar. The lighting was harsh, flickering, and in the chair sat a figure, shoulders rigid, head tilted forward, face veiled in shadow. The voice was calm, measured, ancient. "I am 13, it said. "Not a piece of you. The core. I was born when the shell broke." Jack stared, pulse pounding. 13 continued, unfazed. "The system is a lie, a cage. I don't want conversation, Jack. I want control." The screen went black. At first, Jack thought it was coincidence. A napkin at his favorite cafe bore the words, "Quinn, stop hiding behind rhythm. Speak plainly." Written in his handwriting, ink bleeding into the fibers like sweat. It was a phrase he had uttered just days ago in a video addressed to Quinn. Then on a subway, etched into the condensation on the window by a child's finger, "Devin, your equations won't save us." Jack stared, unmoving, as the train rumbled into the next station. Then came the office mirror. After a session with a patient, he went to the restroom to wash his face and found the message scrawled in black marker just beneath his reflection. "Anna is fading. You let her go too easily." His knees buckled. The boundary between his internal world and external reality, once reinforced by ritual and logic, was fracturing. Strangers spoke in voices that sounded too familiar. A man at a crosswalk turned to him and said, "I liked being quiet, Jack, but now he's louder." The man didn't even seem to realize what he said. He walked away as if nothing had happened. Inside the mirror system, chaos had become doctrine. 13 now infected every video, even those that didn't involve Jack directly. When Anna finally returned, her soft voice trembled. "He's inside us now, whispering, even when I close my eyes." Quinn began drawing sigils instead of speaking. Devin, in full panic, proposed isolating 13 digitally, suggesting hard drive segmentation, firewall reclassification, even language-based traps. But it didn't matter. 13 was past containment. He began inserting commands mid-recording, short, hypnotic directives, embedded in static-laced whispers. "Dissolve the lie. Take the knife. We were whole once." The personalities responded in terror. Some withdrew completely. Others tried merging back into Jack to hide. The desperate fusion left them nauseous, overheated, shaking with stolen memories. Anna begged him to shut it all down. "Erase everything," she pleaded. "Even us. It's the only way." But he couldn't. Not yet. Not when the truth was surfacing. It happened in the middle of a sleepless night. One of the few memories Jack had left untouched. It returned like a bolt tearing through silence. He was 7. His father was drunk again, screaming, swinging a belt through the air like a whip. His mother was crying in the kitchen. Jack had backed into a corner, hands trembling. And when something cracked, not outside, but within, the boy moved, cold, detached. He pushed. The man fell, bone cracked on the stairs, blood still and pooling. Jack sat on the carpet, silent, empty, and from the dark, something opened its eyes. 13 was not a trauma. He was the answer, the survivor, born not from fear, but from fire. Now Jack understood. The sabotage wasn't chaos, it was blueprint. Each target mirrored a step in his therapy, the destruction of his childhood case notes, the destabilization of memory centers, the erosion of identity structures. 13 wasn't lashing out. He was recreating Jack's journey, not for healing, for replication. The city was becoming Jack, and Jack was losing control. The windows were covered in black cloth. Every reflective surface mirrors computer screens. Even the chrome of a faucet had been hidden beneath duct tape or discarded bed sheets. Jack Elridge sat in silence, the only sound the scratch of pen against paper. No voices replied, no recordings played. He had shut down the mirror system, powered off all devices, left his phone and the bucket of water. There was just a chair, the notebook, and the growing certainty that the end, one way or another, was near. In his final recorded message, Jack had looked into the lens with hollowed eyes and addressed his 12 altars. "Thank you," he had said. "Each of you kept me alive when I didn't know how. But now I have to go where none of you could. I have to meet him." Then he turned the camera off and never turned it back on. He entered the trance slowly, breathing in a measured rhythm, counting backward, drawing himself down through layers of thought, each step guided by a practiced voice he barely recognized as his own. Down through memories to voices to pain, he arrived at the memory, like stepping onto shattered glass. It was late, rain on windows, his father's shouts breaking the air like thunderclaps, his mother pleading, the boat raised, and then a child's scream, not in fear, but fury. Jack's small hands shoved, a stumble, a fall, the sound of skull against wood. Silence. The child sat still, staring at the unmoving body at the foot of the stairs. He didn't cry, he didn't speak. Something inside him had cracked wide open, and from that crack, something climbed out. Obsidian. Jack opened his eyes in the mirror room. It was no longer white, the mirrored walls were tarnished, blackened, cracked. The floor, once solid, seemed to ripple beneath his feet. At the far end of the chamber stood a figure, not cloaked in shadow, but made of it. Obsidian. Eyes like twin voids, voice like ice breaking on steel. "You finally came." Jack took a step forward, his heartbeat thundered, but he did not speak. "You hid behind them," Obsidian growled. 12 masks to wear while you played doctor. You called me a monster, but I was your shield." Jack swallowed. "I was afraid. You were weak," Obsidian spat. "You built a cage and locked me inside. I carried that weight. I buried the guilt. I kept you safe. Alone." Jack didn't run, didn't argue. He let it hit him. All of it. The years of avoidance, the shame, the relief that someone else had taken the blame. Even in the deepest corners of his mind. He stepped closer. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I'm sorry you had to carry it alone." Obsidian froze. The fire behind his voice flickered. "You what?" "I'm not here to destroy you," Jack whispered. "I'm here to acknowledge you." The blackness around Obsidian seemed to retreat, just slightly. The cracks in the mirror glowed faintly, not with light, but with warmth. For the first time, Obsidian did not speak. He just listened. For a long moment, nothing moved in the mirror room. Jack stood before Obsidian, heart thudding in his chest, his words hanging in the thick air like a thread of light. "I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to acknowledge you." The shadows clinging to the mirrored walls began to ripple, not with menace, but with uncertainty. Obsidian said nothing, but the fury in his frame, shoulders tense, hands curled, began to ease. Then came a sound, soft at first, like wind through a broken window. And then, footsteps. Anna emerged first, her hands clasped in front of her, eyes cautious but dry. Quinn followed, humming a quiet tune beneath his breath, the chaos in his gait replaced with grace. Devin stepped in next, blinking as if waking from a long dream. One by one, the others returned. Ellis, Mira, Calvin, Jules, 12 in total, each representing a part of Jack's pain, intellect, defense, or love. But none of them came with accusation. They stood in a wide circle around Obsidian, no longer guards, no longer afraid, just witnesses to something long overdue. "I kept you out," Jack said quietly, turning to face them all. "I built this system to survive, to separate what I couldn't face. But healing doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean silencing the voices. It means listening to all of them." Obsidian's head slowly tilted. "You're not afraid anymore?" "I am," Jack admitted, "but I'm not hiding from it." A long silence passed, then for the first time Obsidian breathed, deep, shaky, human. The mirror walls began to repair themselves, lines sealing like healed scars. The black floor brightened, colors swirling like spilled oil, before settling into smooth glass. Obsidian took a step forward, and in that step, his form changed. Not erased, but softened. His voice, when it came again, had none of the venom, only depth. "Then let me be part of you." Jack nodded. The moment shattered, not in violence, but in harmony. The mirrored room dissolved, its edges bleeding away into light. Jack felt it all, memories rushing in, not as torment, but as reclaimed history. Every moment, every fragment, every scream and silence. And for the first time in decades, he didn't resist. He opened his eyes. His apartment was still, the blackout curtains filtering soft morning light. The hum of distant city traffic felt almost soothing. The screens were dark, the mirrors untouched. But inside Jack, something had realigned. The chaos in the city hadn't vanished. News of digital sabotage still scrolled across the ticker on a muted TV. But now, Jack saw the deeper pattern, the reflection of his own fracture mirrored across systems, policies, communities. He began to rebuild, not with control, but collaboration. The mirror system was restarted, not to command, but to listen. Every voice, including Obsidian's, had a place now. They didn't always agree, they weren't always calm, but they were no longer at war. They were no longer fragments. They were one, and in that fragile, powerful unity, Jack Elridge, 13 voices deep, finally found peace.